This is TJ Rivera, minor league coach with the Cleveland Guardians, and you're watching the Legends on Deck podcast with host Brian Koss and David Conde.
With the first pick in Baseball United history, the Cobras select Karan Patel, pitcher out of Houston, Texas, in the USA.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is episode 63 of the Legends on Deck podcast. Once again, I'm David Conde. Welcoming back Dylan, is sitting in again for Brian. I don't know, but Dylan, I think you're gonna take over the podcast and just tell Brian he's gonna sit it out from now on.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've been on the podcast here for a few episodes. I feel like I'm taking over here for 2024. So, but yeah, great to be back on, David.
I'll say this thing: you have a tied of a record with our friend John Miedreich, that's back from Baseball United. You guys are on 3 episodes in a row, so you're gonna have to see who breaks it and gets the 4th episode in. So we might have to have John on just as a host. But our special guest today, along with John, is the #1 pick overall of the Baseball United draft, Karan Patel. Karan was born and raised in Texas, played college baseball at University of Texas of San Antonio, and was drafted by the Chicago White Sox in 2019, making him the first ball player of Indian descent to get drafted into professional baseball. Karan and John, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Was I good on all that? Everything, you good?
Yeah, it was all good.
All right, Dylan, you go first, Dylan.
Karan, I guess I want to start off by asking you, obviously, I think everybody's got a unique story to share in regards to their, background in baseball and their kind of upbringing in baseball. You're kind of interesting. Came to baseball through cricket. So, can you talk a little bit about that kind of upbringing? I mean, I know there's a lot of similarities, and cricket's very popular over in Europe and in other countries. But can you talk about, really how this journey has been going from, early on in your career playing cricket to now going in and playing baseball? What has it kind of been that journey like?
Yeah, so growing up, my dad was a big cricket player. He actually got to represent the USA back when he was playing professionally. And so, I mean, when I was younger, it all ended up being like every Sunday was spent at the field. Just me, dad, out there playing, watching him play. And then as I got older, I started getting into it and I started playing, and it started becoming a 50-50 split between baseball and cricket. So when I got to, I think it was like a 15-year-old age, I got to represent USA for the first time, the under-19s. And then kind of phased into baseball a little bit more, saw that there was some growth there, and ended up, I think around my junior year, I had college coaches coming around the corner, and that's kind of how we kind of flipped the script. But I kept cricket in the background and got to represent USA again at the under-19 level at 18 years old, and got picked again at 19 years old. But my college coach ended up making me pick. He's like, hey, do you want to play college baseball or do you want to go represent your country? So I guess that kind of solidified my answer of taking the baseball route.
So what has been the biggest, sorry.
No, get Dylan.
Karan, what has been for you? I mean, going from cricket to baseball, what has been the biggest kind of maybe like learning process or maybe change that you've experienced in your game? Again, as I mentioned, cricket and baseball have so many similarities, but obviously the games are different, the way it's played is different. What has been kind of the biggest, I don't want to say challenge, but the biggest thing that you really had to learn and pick up on, playing baseball, especially early on in your career?
So I think it kind of benefited me pitching wise. Just having a higher arm slot, I was able to spin the ball a little bit better. I wasn't much of a hitter in baseball. I kind of became a PO at 17 years old. Got to hit in high school, but that was about it. So I think swing wise, there was not a big transition for me. I think it'd be a little bit harder for cricket or baseball players to take up the cricket swing. It would mess up the swing path a little bit. But I think cricket players now in this new T20 format that's getting super big all around the world, they're trying to get the baseball approach. So there's that little mix that they're trying to learn how to power hit, as they call it. So when I'm home for the off season, I have a bunch of guys, hey, can we come in and can you kind of help us with our swing mechanics? We're learning how to hit baseball style. So I think to answer that, it's more on the pitching side, it was very beneficial for me. The challenge would be on the hitting side.
Where do you see so what was your position in cricket? Was it throwing the ball? Because I don't know the
That
name
was,
of the positions. So.
yeah. So I was a bowler
Okay.
growing up. And then now as I'm starting like when I got to college on, I kind of transitioned into becoming more of a batter just to save my arm from being taxing and getting too tired. So on the bowler, I was a bowler growing up, and now I've kind of transitioned to the batting side as a batsman.
So baseball, cricket, where do you are you in the middle, or do you really like love the baseball better? Because I know I've read somewhere that you really love the game and passionate about the game.
Yeah.
So where do you fall in between?
I love both sports. I have fun playing both equally, but right now my future is in baseball. So cricket's just in the background, just trying to keep me in shape, doing something every day, and kind of just keep the body moving in different patterns. I'm a big emphasizer in that, just doing different kinds of movements and kind of keep that, body rolling.
And I always wonder one thing: the ball of a cricket, is it harder than a baseball?
So it's pure leather, but it's the same weight. So initially, since they only use one ball the whole game, it's not like baseball where it scuffs in the dirt and you throw it out.
Yeah.
So if they hit into the stands, there's people in the stands got to throw it back. And so as the game goes on, the ball gets softer. So
if someone threw
in
it
the
100
beginning
miles an hour, if somebody threw it 100 miles an hour and hit the bat, it wouldn't hurt as much.
Yes, 100 still 100.
But
they don't use gloves.
Huh?
So they don't use gloves.
I noticed that.
So the impact, like in the beginning of the game, the ball is going to be harder. That's where the hurt is at. And then as the game progresses and it gets deeper into the game, the ball gets softer. So then it's less on your hands.
And the bat looks like a paddle.
Yes.
It kind of reminds me of the paddle I used to get when I was in Catholic school when I was younger. It's kind of flat and hard. Let's switch back a little bit to your high school days. You had success there in your high school. I believe you won a title with the school, I believe it was.
We were close. We never actually got to win anything, but got selected for like the All-Star games. And so I was actually a draft prospect out of high school to the White Sox. Ended up saying no to go to school because I was a first generation kid in my family to go to college.
Nice.
So that was a big factor in the decision to go to school over going pro.
So when did you realize high school you all-star, but when did you realize that you can play college at that level, the college level, that higher level than high school? When did you realize you were good enough to do that? At what point?
Probably going into my junior year. I started throwing a little bit harder. It wasn't too hard, but had schools starting to call. They saw my growth. And then going into my senior year, out of nowhere, I started throwing 93, 94 miles an hour. And every practice, every game, pro scouts everywhere, that kind of triggered and hit my head that, okay, I got a chance, to play at the next level.
Cool. And who do you think attributed to the success in baseball? You mentioned your dad played cricket, I guess in the United States, he played cricket. So he showed you that aspect of that, but who kind of attributed to your success in baseball?
So back home, it's kind of a long story, but to make it short, one of my dad's friends moved from Trinidad that played for the West Indies. He moved into our neighborhood. And when he moved in, his neighbor was an ex-big leaguer. His name was Scipio Spinks. And Scipio played for the Astros, played for the Cardinals, and he was a scout at the time. And he kind of took me under his wing for about 2.5 years. And I went from no coaching, just playing travel ball, playing high school ball, to him kind of refining my skills and helping me get better. And that's where I progressed. So my baseball side definitely goes back to Scipio.
Well, I guess it's good to have both sides of it, right? The two sports, and to be able to do well in both sports. I didn't know cricket existed when I was younger, but it is an interesting sport. I've been watching it. I probably played it more in the video game, trying to understand how to hit it. But it is knowing that the ball is softer kind of makes you wonder, like when they catch it and it's in the air and you see them just catching, diving from, like, oh my God, they're probably breaking their hand when they do that.
They can. I mean, if you dive wrong or anything. But yeah, the game is growing. The USA is actually hosting the T20 World Cup coming up here, I think, in June and July. And then they're starting Major League Cricket as well. So it's starting to get big here fast.
Well, maybe you could switch back when you're done with the baseball and kind of go play with them.
That's kind of the backup plan. It was my senior year of college that if, baseball didn't work out, didn't get drafted, we're going to flip gears and go play cricket.
Awesome.
Karan, before I get into question here real quick, did a lot of your teammates know you played cricket? Like, was it kind of something where like the teammates kind of knew? Like, did you ever show them at all some cricket? I mean, like, kind of what was it like with your teammates? And your cricket upbringing at all? Did you kind of give them some words, if you will, of what it's like playing cricket and such?
Yeah, in high school, a bunch of my travel ball teammates, everyone knew I played. The travel ball coaches knew that, hey, Patel's only going to be there for Saturday, Sunday split for cricket. You won't see him. No matter you made it to a championship game or not, throw him Saturday. But when it came to my high school teammates, yeah, they would come out, mess around, kind of see what it was like. And they're like, dude, this is too hard. I don't want to play. Can't hit the ball out of the air. Now you want me to hit the ball off the ground? It's a little bit harder.
Well, that can teach them if the ball's low and in the ground that you can scoop it out of the ground. Maybe help them hit the ball better when someone's not reaching the plate or throwing a nasty slider.
Yeah, kind of like Vladimir Guerrero when he hit that one bounce on his knee.
Karan, so you pitched at the minor league level for the White Sox the last few seasons. You did some independent baseball this past year as well. Baseball United, I mean, it just came about last year. This is a new league. It's something that, it's a growing league. There's a lot of excitement coming in with this league, but, prior to, the middle of last year, not many people knew about Baseball United. So, I mean, for you, how did you learn about, this opportunity and this league, and really, when did you realize this could be a great chance for you to continue playing baseball and such really a unique stage that it is Baseball United?
Yeah, so it goes back to 2022 when Cash reached out to me presenting this opportunity. And that, I guess he had posted something on some social media and somebody tagged my name into it. And, Cash reached out, we talked. And I think initially they were going to do something in 2022, didn't happen. And now the league, we had our inaugural games in 23. So just that whole build-up process and, John, Cash, Eddie, all those guys did a really good job. The way they presented and took care of us and how games went. So, yeah, I mean, initially it was 2022 when I learned about it, and then 2023 came to life.
So, John, let me switch over to you for a second. Oh, you got another one, Dylan?
No, you're good. I was letting you.
Well, it's a little off because Dylan's in his car now, so it just looks like he's disappearing. So I don't know when he's gonna.
I'm going a little bit. Not the best setup for me.
So just want to switch this question to John for a second. In the previous episodes, we touched a lot about Baseball United. I mean, you shared in depth so much information. I mean, to kind of give us an idea of where you're going, what you've been doing, all the ins and outs of it. But how has management team building on the game, like putting the plans in place for reaching the other countries, right? So basically, what was the thinking behind Karan? Now, he is American born. He does have Indian descent, but you're trying to reach that level, that fan base in the other countries. So how can you correlate between him being American born, but also having Indian descent? What was the thinking of having him come to be a part of the league?
Well, appreciate the question, David. And it's always an honor and privilege to speak about the players who represent Baseball United. You know, let's get this straight though. KP is a fireball thrower, right? So he is a professional baseball player, played at the highest levels. I mean, again, it's not like he's a fluke or a gimmick. I mean, the guy is a legitimate professional baseball player. So it really wasn't a hard decision, to be quite honest with you, right? And, you know, from the level of play, he checks the box that we need, right? To be able to play at a high level, to put a quality product on the field, because we're committed to not lowering the bar, but making sure that we put a quality baseball product on the field. That's number one. At the same, we talked about, you know, again, you alluded to the past episodes where we talked about the grassroots development, the reaching the kids, the sustainability through what we're doing is really getting into those neighborhoods, showing kids how to play the game of baseball. Now, when you look at coincidence that Karan was the first pick, you know, in the Baseball United draft, drafted by the Mumbai Cobras, right? You have an Indian American whose father is deeply involved still to this day in professional cricket, in Conde Patel, who's deeply involved. You know, Karan was raised playing the game of cricket, eventually fell in love with the game of baseball, became a professional. I mean, that's a story that movies and books are written about, right? And the reality is, take that kid who, like I said, was a fireballer out on the mound. I mean, I'm telling you, guys, all the big league guys who played in our showcase, you know, were left with their jaw drop when they saw Karan on the mound. Like everyone, and even like coaching staff was like, wow, we didn't know this kid could bring it like this. I go, well, why do you think he was, you know, why do you think Mumbai picked him first overall? Because he's one of our younger guys as well. So the future and the projections there, you know, so when you have a kid who has the ability, who's played at the highest levels, who's still young, right? Who's still young and has a lot of baseball and a lot of life left in his arm. And I'm sure the executives from the Mumbai Cobras are thankful that he switched to taking swings in cricket, and he's not no longer a bowler, so they get more life out of that arm of his. But the reality is, taking that and telling that story, I mean, that's the way the kids on the ground in Mumbai are going to be, you know, inspired to play the game of baseball when they hear Karan's story, as we continue to tell Karan's, as he continues to become one of the faces of Baseball United, but particularly of that Mumbai Cobras brand. It's so important that, you know, he can interact and connect with the community, and at the same time, they can be inspired by him both on and off the field. So, you know, all the boxes are checked in that regards.
That's awesome. And Karan, just real quickly, being that you were picked by Mumbai, your family, what was their thinking behind that? Were they excited? Like, oh my God, this is great. Is this something that, you know, it brought excitement to you as well to be able to play for them, or going to be able to play for them?
No, it really did. Actually, my dad is from there. He grew up in Mumbai with my grandma. Mom is from Gujarat, from Ahmedabad, so like being able to represent, you know, not even the the country, but even to represent my dad's city that he came from, it's a big honor.
Have you been there?
I have. It's been a couple years. I go around every like 9 years, just because baseball is so big here that it's so hard to leave. Like even now. But I went for my 9th birthday and my 18th birthday. But for my 18th, we actually ended up playing cricket. So we took a USA team and we toured Gujarat, and I was able to go to Mumbai. We had a couple off days, so you know, my dad got a car and we drove over and spent the New Year's out there.
So,
you know, just to add on to that, you know, one of the short-term plans really for Baseball United is to kind of make that happen, get Karan over there on the ground, interacting with the kids. So really that's something we're planning early 2024 as one of the faces of that Mumbai franchise. It's so important to have him there interacting with the community, creating and really building the fan base that's already there. So that's an important piece to what we're doing. So that's something we're surely going to be doing in the near future.
No, that's awesome. And now I'm assuming you're on social media, right, Karan?
Yes, I am.
Do you get any of the fans from over there, like people just contacting you to just the inspiration that maybe that you built on the kids over there? Do you get any messages from anybody? I mean, you don't have to mention them, but just in general.
Yeah, all the time. I have kids reaching out on sending videos or, sending reels nowadays. That's kind of the thing. They, send messages saying, hey, what can I do to get better? Or can I send you video of my mechanics? I'm like, yeah, no, I have no issues. Send me. I'm here to help. Just another extension of, help anybody can be out there and kind of help coaching, and I love the game a lot. So I'm eager to spread it, and especially to that area.
Probably when you were younger playing cricket and then playing baseball, you probably never thought that you would reach a platform where you can reach the youth in India, right? With baseball. Maybe cricket would have been the avenue, but now with baseball, with Baseball United allows you to now reach these kids and really inspire them. Because, I mean, how many more kids can come out of India playing baseball that maybe didn't do before? And I know we've had a few of them that have gone pro. There's movies on them. But I think that, what the platform that you're being given right now is going to be, and we talked about this in previous episodes with John and previous guests, that what Baseball United is doing in that part of the world is just going to open so many doors for so many more fans. Like the cricket fans who probably would become baseball fans. And now that they know that you play cricket and baseball, that's just another avenue to kind of say, hey, I play both sports, and let me show you the differences, but let me show you why I love both of them.
No, yeah, I think, playing multiple sports definitely helps, and that it being another bat and ball sport the love of the game will definitely spread quickly over there. Just even the 3 prospects that John and Cash and Eddie had brought over, I was so impressed by Akshay, and Saurabh. Got to talk to them. They were on my team as well, so I got 8-9 days with them, just being able to hang out and kind of spread what I knew. And then towards the end, any training tool I had, I said, hey, you guys take it back, use it, get better. You have any questions, you have my number, message me on WhatsApp, and they still do to this day. So we're still keeping in touch, and excited to see them here towards the end of the year when we kick back up and get going.
One other thing I want to touch on, that we're kind of spoiled in the States, right? We have access to everything, right? Equipment, coaches, just growing up playing baseball, little league, high school, college level, somewhat. And you see other kids in this part of the world that don't have the tools that we have, and you see how well they've advanced and how well they're playing the game. And now they're just going to have so many more tools with you and Baseball United just to help them even advance even more. And the 3 guys you talked about, I mean, I watched the game, and it was amazing that, wow, like, you don't think about that, right? That, that they don't have the tools, but there's still the talent. So imagine how many more ball players you're going to be able to find once you provide them with the tools that they need.
Yeah, no, I see that on both sides. Even like how cricket is so young here, that's how baseball is over there. And you see the pros that retire from over there and they come over here, and they're starting to play here, and this is why this country is getting better. So I think what these guys are doing with Baseball United is kind of the same kind of spectrum of like, hey, we're going to go back and give to them to help them spread the game over there.
John, actually, I have a brief question before I go to Karan for you real quick. I think one thing that you greatly mentioned, and one thing that we've seen just talking to you over the past 2 times, is being able to tell these guys stories and being able to really, with the faces of this league, being able to especially tell their stories and how they have gotten to Baseball United. I think one thing that's awesome for you guys is really how much of a social presence you guys are giving out to the community of baseball and such. I guess my question would be is, you see a lot of these leagues now coming out with series and stuff, documentaries about these faces of the league, or people in the league and stuff. Is that something you guys have considered doing in the future, to be able to really even tell the story even more of the players that are going to be in your league and who's going to be involved, because I think really that has become a big part of sports even nowadays is a lot of these, the storytelling of these athletes.
Great question, Dylan. Well, absolutely. If I think I mentioned in the past, and you had Cash on as well. Cash's background, our CEO and chairman, his background is in marketing, right? He's a marketing guru, and one of the things that he did prior to us launching and starting Baseball United was specific to building athletes' brands off the field. And he worked with a lot of NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball players to do that. So that intellectual property and that knowledge is something that he's lived in and done. If you obviously follow our social, the content piece, I think we're better than any league in the world, quite frankly. I mean, obviously, I have a jaded opinion, but the reality is, I think that Cash, led by Cash, we do a great job in that. And really, one of the main things that we talk to our players about all the time is like, look, this is a game changer for you, because we are going to invest into you guys as much as you guys are going to invest into us and the fan base, right? Because the reality is, the success of this league, there's many layers of what has to happen in order for us to succeed at the level that we want to. But one of the core pillars of that is telling the story of Karan Patel, KP. Actually, I got to say Karan Patel, because his dad, Kuldeep, has corrected me many times that I mispronounced. But nonetheless, it's being able to tell those stories, because when people could connect and relate to that, that's what this is all about, right? One of the things we talked to the players about before their first game, I mean, actually the first practice was like, hey guys, this is not just about baseball. This is about connecting to a new fan base, inspiring new fan base. You guys got to go out, be willing to go out of what's the norm at times to really inspire and connect with these new fans. I mean, again, every single player that we have, I mean, Dylan, you mentioned that, like, off the top of my head, I know everyone's story. I told Jair's story, I told Pablo's story, and now we're talking about Karan, because the reality is, this is family for us. In reality, what we're trying to do is the people that we selected, the guys and gals that we selected to represent Baseball United, were selected not only because the quality of play, but the quality of human beings that they are. And those are the stories that we need to tell in order to get kids in India, kids in Pakistan, kids in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, the Middle East to fall in love with the game. Who couldn't fall in love with the Karan Patel story?
Well, before you jump into that question, I want to say I've noticed that this is a family, and I think we want to be a part of the family. So let us know how we can be a part of this family, because it is a growing family. It's awesome what you guys are doing. You guys we see you on social media, we see the connection, we see everything you guys are doing, and the fans are going to feel that as well. I think the fans are going to feel like they're part of this family that's growing, and just going to be, bring in stars from different areas that are just going to make the Baseball United one of the biggest leagues, I think, in the world eventually. And I think that's going to come really soon.
From your lips to God's ears. We often say that, any organization, any successful organization is about the people. So in reality, what we've been able to understand and really been able to hone in on, right up from our chairman and CEO all the way down to the janitor who's responsible to clean the bathrooms during the event. Everyone's important, and we need everyone to do their job and operate at a high level so that the league can overall succeed. It's like any sports team, right? It's like a championship level sports team. The shortstop has to do what he does. The manager has to do what he does. The front office has to do what they do, right? And if everyone does their job collectively at a high level, at a championship level, that puts you in a position to win championships. It's no different than us, operating and managing and propelling Baseball United into the future. It's the same concept.
Yeah,
absolutely. Karan, I want to talk a little bit. Again, you were drafted number 1 for Baseball United. And when you kind of mentioned about what that meant to you, and obviously with your family and such, but and obviously you knew going in everything that Baseball United had to offer, and the type of league that it was, and the opportunity you will be able to do not only on the field but off the field. But the last year to be able to go into that showcase and to be at the stadium and to actually see everything kind of come to life for the first time, during those days. I mean, what was that experience like? And then obviously to pitch as well in that showcase. I mean, talk about what it was like to obviously being able to be first pick and then to be able to pitch in that showcase. I mean, what was that overall feeling when you stepped out onto the field and really saw like the overall, experience for that first time?
Yeah, so I mean, being the first pick was a big honor. But the whole feeling, it was electric. The way from the setup to how we got there, where they put us up at, the marching bands or the bands that they had in the stands, to us running out, football style from behind the fence. And just the aspect of how many people can say they shared the field with Pablo Sandoval, your Bartolo Colons, Didi, Andrelton Simmons, Robinson Cano. For me, those are guys that I'm growing up. I'm on the younger side. I only got to watch them play on TV, or maybe cross paths with them in spring training, backing up a big league game or playing them on a backfield or something. So I think just the full environment to the massive fireworks show at the end that nobody knew. If you look at the videos, everybody's reactions is like, oh my God, what just happened? Everything's, lighting up on top of the stadium. The two big video boards, right in center field. Those are some things you just don't see. So I think everything they did was very thought out and put together awesomely. The field felt like it was a big stadium, turning that cricket stadium into a baseball field. The mound was amazing, probably one of the best mounds I've pitched on in a long time. And you think that they put that together, weeks before first pitch for people that have never seen baseball. So for just the fans that got to go out there and see, the whole thing was a true big league game. And just being able to share the field with all those guys was amazing.
Real quick, can you tell the difference when you stepped on? Did you turn it off that it wasn't a cricket field anymore and it was a baseball field, being that you played on both?
So the pitch was still there. Not many, you couldn't see it on TV because it had grass on it, but the cricket pitch was still there. So when we were practicing, I actually got to go out there, look at it, feel it. I mean, they told nobody to stand on it, so I knew the correct way to, you get on your knees and you can feel it without putting your spikes on it. But once the TV and the lights turns on, you couldn't tell. You could just see, oh, that's just a big league baseball stadium. So the way everything was done, it was amazing.
And I did see they had these little cubes or something on the right side of the field.
Cabanas.
Field.
On-field cabanas. I think that was one of the smartest things Cash did. I mean, I would pay a lot of money to be on the field courtside to watch future Hall of Famers and, ex-big leaguers go do their thing. You think people here want to pay courtside to watch basketball? Imagine being in the line of fire. I think that sounds fun to me.
Well, the baseball's a little smaller and harder, but I couldn't see on the screen if there was any foul balls. Did anything ever go to that area?
Oh yeah. There was. I think there was actually a one up the line, and it it hit the net and ricocheted back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had a little netting to protect them, but I think that was a really cool experience for whoever got to sit out there. And there was a bunch of kids before the game, just walking down the line before my start that came out, and I was like, oh my God, many kids here that play baseball. We didn't know how many played. We knew they played baseball, just to see and be able to sign those autographs and kind of share that experience with them. That was awesome.
So David, in regards to the cabana experience, yeah, so up and down, the foul lines, we had 5 cabanas set up on each one.
Yeah.
Second night, and I know you're going to appreciate this story, but the second night, the second cabana from home plate, we had some of our owners group, myself and Cash were in there at some point. We were working, we were really moving around a lot, so got to spend a couple of minutes, but the other guys were Barry Larkin was in there with Adrian Beltre, Elvis Andrews was in there, Robinson Chirinos was in there, Albert Pujols was in there. They were all in there with their spouses during the game. And I personally walked the group over to show them where their cabana was. And Larkin he was just making a joke out of it because the netting was a little lower than he thought. So he goes, man, I'm a little nervous here. I'm right in the game. I'm like, dude, you're an ex-Gold Glove winning. If you're worried about this. You're scaring us because the guys in the next one are like Boy Scouts. So you better, but it was a great story. And really, from their perspective, I mean, think about those names that I just said were in that cabana. They were literally just so impressed and like loved. And all we got was positive feedback from those guys about that was such a different way to experience the game as a fan than anything they've ever seen. And they just loved the concept.
Well, I guess whoever built the cabana with that cage is probably going to be able to sell those things because if the ball hit it and there was no issue with it, I guess they did their job.
That was Cash's brainchild, those cabanas. He said by hell or high water, we're having those cabanas.
Yeah, you go, Dylan.
Oh, I'll let you go, David.
Okay. Well, anyway, so the last question is we want to ask you, what are you looking forward to, Karan, for this season? Granted, the league doesn't start till November. So we're all excited. And John touched a little bit about going on the ground and kind of getting you out there. But what are you looking forward to get ready for November?
I know right now I'm a free agent, so just trying to stay in shape, trying to see if there's any opportunities to keep me, ready for that. That's something I'm looking forward to get back out there. It was so much fun, and we were just there for a short period of time. So I think being there for the full 2 months or whatever they have planned for us this year is going to be exciting. And hopefully we're, able to interact a little bit more with the city and the kids and being able to go out there and kind of share our experiences and just kind of hang out and do our thing with everyone. I think just being able to play, on that side of the world, spreading the game is big, and it's a big opportunity, and a huge honor for me, at least, to go out there and be able to do that.
Awesome. The one thing that on the previous episode, I think Jer talked about pitching, or John brought up that it's too hot in the summer to pitch in Dubai. Do you think maybe you can get on the mound in 123-degree weather and just pitch a full game?
I'm from Texas, so
are you used to that?
The heat is not that hot, but it's definitely going to be a challenge. But I'm always up for a challenge. I think regardless of the weather, the atmosphere is going to be amazing. I think that's what's going to push you through.
No, that's awesome. I'm originally from New York, and I don't know if it ever got that hot. And I live in Florida now, and it gets hot in August where I don't even want to step outside. I did baseball last summer with my son, and I almost fainted watching the game. So I said, "This is it. Never again. I'm good."
Yeah, it's the last day of January, and it's 75 degrees down here.
Oh, wow. I think we're a little cooler, but it's all right. Everything's crazy this time of the year with this weather. But, hey, guys, I want to thank you for being on the show. I think we got a great idea of who you are, where you came up from, the fact that, I learned more about your cricket and the baseball. Didn't realize you kind of got both sides of that, which is great. And I think you're out of all the other guys that, of course, got drafted and they're all going to play their part in all of this, I think you're also the perfect fit for this because of your background and that you can reach so many different sides of it with baseball and cricket and the fan base. We're rooting for you over there. We're rooting for Baseball United to be this huge new league that's going to take over the world. I think, you're on the cusp of that with how baseball is growing. I think we got switched up a little bit with Dylan here, but how baseball is growing with in that side of the world. I think, what you guys are doing is great. So just want to thank you guys for being on the show. Just want to thank Egypt Mortgage for sponsoring it. And hopefully, John, we get you on again and we can share, down the road of what's going on with Baseball United and on how, you guys have grown the league even more and want to bring great news to our followers.
Well, appreciate you, Tom. Appreciate all your following. You can follow us at baseballunited.com, on Instagram at baseballunited. Just stay tuned for all good things Baseball United, as we got a few major announcements coming out in the near future. So really appreciate you guys. If there's anything we could do for you guys, just where to get us.
Appreciate that. And Karan, thank you again, buddy, and good luck this coming year, and we'll be rooting for you. Everyone else,
yes, sir.
watching you too.
Thank you so much. This was an honor.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Legends on Deck, episode number 63.